Welcome to Spoop Squad, the podcast that watches horror films that go flop in the night. I'm Jared.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Nathan. I needed extra time to sit down because I was dancing.
You are a dancing machine. Not quite unsimilar to a killing machine.
This is a terrible segue.
It is a terrible segue. We watched, obviously, Killer Sofa. This is a movie from 2019. It has an IMDb rating of 3.6 out of 10. We watched it on Amazon Prime. We couldn't find a budget.
$70.
Yeah.
I think that's a little much. $70 seems... Oh, well, I guess they did have a sweet fog machine.
Yeah.
So
that's a really good fog machine, and it needed to be used in
every scene.
Well, it was every scene that was spooky.
It was a fog machine and a sofa, not a sofa, sorry, a Lazy Boy recliner that they found at a Goodwill shop.
Yes.
And someone sewed buttons onto it for eyes.
Yes.
Or did they just glue it on?
Glue.
It was probably just glue.
I glue everything. It was glue. I do.
Okay. Interesting fact about Hannah.
I glue all the things.
That's so dumb.
All right, Hannah, why don't you go ahead and give us a synopsis?
I don't know that. All right. Two detectives find themselves battling their own demons when a girl enchants a killer reclining chair that begins committing crimes of passion.
Like, first off,
Just passion.
these two detectives, they weren't fighting their own demons. Like, nothing
They were
in
barely in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they were fighting demons. You just didn't see them. You
But
don't
it wasn't,
see demons,
but it wasn't their own
Jared.
demons.
I mean, it was some demons.
I mean, only a couple of people alive see demons. They mostly go invisible and just like sneak in and out of your apartment and make things cold.
Yeah, that's what demons do.
You just spit into your cup. Oh, Jesus.
Well, I wasn't expecting. That's what demon do.
You got to expect it. Expect
No.
the demon.
You never know where it's going to come.
You don't.
They just seagull.
All right, let's get into one good thing. Who wants to go first? Nathan, why don't you?
I'll go first.
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, so my one good thing is that this is the worst Jim Henson joint that has ever been made.
Yeah.
It just makes me so happy that it looked like the most fucked up, like this, like the sofa. It's not a sofa.
It's not a sofa.
They never said the word sofa in the whole thing. It is a recliner. That the recliner looked like the worst. Oh wait, no wait. This is the best description. Remember like the Triple X Church ads that were like, if you masturbate, a guy kills a kitten, and there was like this monster that was like creeping up on a kitten. That is exactly what the recliner looked like.
God, I've killed so many kittens.
Dude, same.
Same.
I can't even tell you how many kittens I killed yesterday.
Probably like 5.
Oh God, no. God, I'd be raw by now.
I go 1.5.
Just that fucking half.
Up.
Just like, whatever.
Yeah,
I
just
don't
give you 3 minutes of killing kittens. You're good.
3 minutes. Wow, that's generous.
All right, so a fun fact about this movie, it was originally titled My Lover, My Lazy Boy. And
That's not real. That's not real.
it is very real.
So does this make it your? Is this your one good thing?
No, this is just a fun fact, but it is a very good thing. They changed the name because they were afraid of getting sued by the company Lazy Boy.
Right.
Is that real?
It's real.
I can't handle the fact that a movie was called My Lover, My Lazy Boy.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Danny boy. Just can't.
The springs are tightening.
Okay, so this fun fact actually continues and says that the title was then changed or considered to The Furnishing, which is that's wrong too. And then until somebody finally came up with the title Killer Sofa,
And it's
and
not
it
even
stuck.
a sofa.
And it's not even a sofa.
It's
Like,
a recliner.
Not even close.
Like
It's not even a love seat.
it's not. It's one recliner.
It is like one regular ass recliner. It's not even like wide enough to like maybe fit two people.
It's not even when like Cat Williams is high and he's like, man, I can't even sit on this seat if I'm not in love. It's not a love seat. It is a one seat. It's a single seat.
It's a love yourself seat. It's a party for one, if you will.
I mean, it was a party for one when the girl sat in it and just started like rubbing one out on the arm, and we're like, what is she touching? Sorry, I'm straight up getting into ridiculous moments way too ahead.
Okay,
but
okay.
All right. All right. My one good thing is where the sofa was actually like staring at Maxie out the window.
Oh, it's the first time that the recliner moves.
Yeah. It's the first time we see it move and like just mean mug people.
and you just see these beady button eyes
That are
because they buttons.
They're black eyes, like a doll's eyes.
it's so okay. It's so funny to me the placement of these buttons, because it's not like kind of like outset where you would expect it to be. You know, like they just straight up were like, "Nah, we're gonna make this look like a fucking like a weird face."
It's like Bert Kreischer on mushrooms at a Jimmy Buffett concert.
That's what they made this chair look like.
Yep.
Yeah.
For Kreischer on mushrooms at a Buffett concert.
Yeah, for sure. Because it's a predator, and predators have eyes that go forward.
It did go invisible at one point though, but it didn't purr. So
Tom Segura is gonna love this joke.
he's not gonna listen.
All right, Hannah, what's your one good thing?
My one good thing was the names, because we are 5 minutes into this movie and they're like, hey, we're Inspector Gravy and Inspector Grape.
Yeah, like what is going on?
I mean, we are barely past credits and we're like, we're Inspector Gravy and Grape. And we're like, so are we just going to have everything named after food here? Like their names were like Gravy and Grape. Like the hell?
Lazy.
It's definitely
Lazy. Like there has to be some kind of inside joke
I
with
don't
these
even know that
names.
there was an inside joke. I feel like they were like, okay, so we have a day left to write this movie, and I'm in the grocery store because my wife is hungry. So here's
and I'm gonna
like
have grape gravy.
grapes and gravy.
That's straight up
We're
Canadian
done.
dish. That is Canadian cuisine, is grapes and gravy.
But
Or
this movie
Australian.
was shot in New Zealand, though.
Wait.
Oh, it was New Zealand.
Yeah, it was, but also like gravy and grapes. Grape gravy. It's semen. I solved the puzzle, everybody.
No.
I think you're way off.
Don't take my one good thing. It was a bored husband walking through a grocery store. That's my one good thing.
Okay. Okay. It's
Grapes and gravy.
not a semen euphemism.
It's something, but it's not great. All right, well, Nathan, why don't you go ahead and give us the kill breakdown on this movie?
All right, so kill number 1 is...
Well, how many total?
There's 6.
There's 6 total.
Yes. I looked at the last one and it made me laugh. Okay. The first one is Frederico gets chopped up with a saber saw. Okay. We'll circle back on that.
All right.
Number 2 is TJ was killed by springs. He was.
Like
I know.
in his house while his mother had headphones on and could not hear him screaming.
Because she was doing yoga.
She was
Yeah.
doing yoga. That was really funny. Number 3 is Ralph was hit by an iron while fucking a hat and bra.
You're Francesca.
That's
like
so good.
snuck into Francesca's room
Yeah.
and was like masturbating in her bed.
No, he was like straight up fucking
Yeah.
like an empty bra and
Yeah.
a hat.
Between
That he
and
placed-
was like, you're Francesca.
Yeah.
It's just so funny because when he puts the hat and the bra on the bed, it looks like a smiley face.
No, it was a frowning face.
No, it was smiling. I don't know. Number 4 is Maxie fell in a trash can where her acting belongs. This is what I wrote down.
Along with them pads.
This was, yeah, no,
But Maxie didn't die though.
yeah, but we thought she did.
We
so
thought
I wrote
she
it down
did.
because we thought she died.
You know, her falling into that trash can though was a little weird. And I mean, we can get into it in ridiculous moments, but that's weird.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get into it
Yeah.
because she definitely was unconscious for like 12 hours. Number 5, Frederico was actually in the chair and was killed by a gravy shot.
To the face.
Just gravy shot to the face. and then number 6 is gravy choked on lust.
Well, I feel like you're missing one though. I think Francesca was, I guess she's more possessed than killed.
Yes, that's why I didn't put it
Yeah.
in there. Yeah, she got possessed by Valerie.
Oh no, you did miss one though. Grape at the end.
Wait, did Grape get killed?
Yeah,
Did she get?
because Gravy broke her neck.
Oh, and did she let out a little wine?
Yeah, she did. Very good.
That's fair. That's fair. That is one that I
But
missed.
what kind of wine?
It's a Shiraz.
I would.
It's the funniest wine I could come up with.
All right, this kind of brings us into ridiculous moments, and I do want to hit back on the Maxie falling into the trash can.
Yes,
Maxi
please.
pad.
And
Is that what we're calling the trash can? Is Maxie's pad?
Maxie's
Yes.
pad, yeah.
It's where she lives. It's where her
Yes.
acting lives. Yeah.
So she falls into this trash can from a second-story window.
Yes.
And it seemed like, and maybe I just am making this up in my head, but it seemed like somebody looked in the trash can and she was gone. And then later on in the movie, she pops back up from the trash can with like
Okay.
this 1-inch piece of glass hanging out of her forehead.
Oh no, it's bigger than that. But I will say you are mistaken. They went looking for the smell, and that's when the detectives found Ralph's body.
That's true. That's fair. Yeah.
And they were so distracted by Ralph and his stink.
Which, how long was he out there? Because it seemed like it was like the next day after he died,
Yeah.
or maybe even the same night.
No, it was definitely like that. It was the next day.
But also, like, how perfectly did Maxie fall into the trash can? Like, how would that trash can just be open?
Oh, it was nothing but net.
And then Kobe, who's also dead. R.I.P.
Oh, fuck. Come on.
R.I.P. Kobe, I love you. But the fact that she just randomly fell out the window perfectly head first into this open trash can, and then it closed on her high top chucks. And
Yeah.
that was it. That was it
Yeah.
for a day. And then she just pops up like, hey, I'm not dead.
Yeah.
She
And
pops up,
nobody
"Hey, I'm
is
not dead."
concerned.
Nobody's concerned about Maxie except, no, except her grandfather, who suddenly at the end of the movie decides to pronounce Dybbuk correctly instead of Dybbuk,
The book.
like the YouTube video that he keeps watching.
Okay, wait. Okay, since we're talking about, so we're on ridiculous moments. We're talking about the YouTube videos that he watches.
Dybbuk.
They're so fucking funny because it like you'll have this video or like there will be some words on like a list on the screen and he's watching it and he's like it's like the the background to the YouTube video keeps changing, and that kept that like for some reason that gave me so much life.
But the subscribe button never changes.
Well, it wasn't on YouTube. It was on his website. It was his blog that you were working on. So
that's
they were scrolling through the pages on the blog, and that's why the background kept changing. But you are right. Like, it had different pictures pop up in the lower left-hand corner.
Yes.
And it was very good.
Wait, so what was the main girl's name again?
Francesca.
Francesca, that's right. Francesca. Yeah, she was definitely scrolling through the pages when she was laying in the recliner.
Oh, yeah. She was.
Because she definitely was rubbing all over the arms at one point, and then she reached down and just stuck her fingers into the
lever
the lever that kicks the foot part out. And she
that basically gives the recliner a boner.
Yeah.
Okay, but speaking of the recliner boner, can we get into when the recliner boner tried to chop off Francesca's gay boyfriend's legs on the oven? Because he's just standing in front of this oven and he hears something and he looks behind him like there's a dog moving and has to stop. And the recliner stops every 2 seconds whenever TJ turns around.
But it's halfway across the room the first time he turns around.
And tilting a different way than it was.
Yeah.
And every time the recliner moves, it's tilting a different way. Like it's looking up like a toddler that's in trouble. And TJ is against the oven. What was he making?
Pizza. It was a frozen pizza.
It was pizza. And he's standing there, and this recliner comes in with his recliner boner and just rams him against the oven door like it's a car ramming him against another car. Okay, I used to watch the whole ER thing on TLC. What was it? True Stories of the ER?
Yes.
Where they would ram people in between two car bumpers and chop them off the knees. Right? That got real dark.
That's terrible.
That's what this chair did to TJ against the oven. He just tried to ram him off of the knees and got him a quarter of the way through. And TJ was just sitting there dying.
It hurted TJ.
I lost all this blood.
Well,
and I didn't get to eat my DiGiorno.
I love the fact that after TJ gets injured, Francesca's talking about how he went to stay at his mother's house, and his mother lived 3 houses down.
Literally.
Yeah.
She was like,
It's
no,
he
she
can't
lives
move
3 houses down.
Yeah, he can't move farther than 3 houses away from his mother.
How convenient. How convenient for the recliner.
TJ's gay. He's not going to move that far from his mother.
I mean, maybe.
I really like the fact that everybody in this movie lives in the same neighborhood.
Yes, everybody lives
because
very
Ralph
close.
lived in the same neighborhood as well.
Yeah, and so did Frederico.
Yeah.
And Jack, the papa that got the recliner, first of all, and he was like, oh no, that can't be for Francesca. Are you sure it doesn't say Maxie? Those are the same
They're not
name.
even close.
First of all, how does Francesca somehow translate into Maxie? They don't. And he just goes outside and he's like, I'm gonna rub the recliner's arms and somehow go into a vision and somehow just come all over this thing and be like, leave it with me. And then it shows up in Francesca's driveway.
Yeah, miraculously.
Yeah, no, but okay, so this leads into where I was about to go, is that there are so many times in this movie where something is happening and they do a cut that puts you 2 minutes ahead of where they just were, because it's they're trying to speed you through the movie. They're okay, we'll speed run this movie, and there's 2 minutes where somebody is falling down and someone is helping them, but we'll just fucking cut it out. So when Jack is touching the chair and he passes out, and then he sits up, they don't show him sitting up. He's laying on the ground, and then he's grabbing the back of a trailer to stand up.
And then he calls his Abba,
Yes.
who he hasn't spoken to in years.
Yes, I was definitely about to get to this too. Yeah.
Because you and I, being somewhat Jewish, it's like if you haven't spoken to your father in years, you don't call him Abba, first of all, because that is a very enduring, like...
It's like a sweet thing. It's like saying daddy.
Like, yes. And then he's like, oh, Abba, I haven't spoken to you in years, but I have this demon. And he's like, oh, get rid of it. But Abba. And it's like, that's not how that works.
But his father was also like, hey, like, you turn around and run.
And he was like, no, I'm going to sit here with my voodoo girlfriend and work this out.
Yeah, this movie's just all over the fucking place. Like, how many times did Jack, how many times was he on the verge of a heart attack?
Oh,
like 8 times.
Yeah.
Since like the 4th scene of the movie.
Yes.
Like pretty much the rest of the time.
It was really the second scene because you go straight into Federico dying and then you go straight into Jack finding the chair and he's like, are you sure you don't mean Maxie when you say Francesca? And then he goes straight into like heart attack moment. Yeah. And that relives itself like at least 4 times.
And what's really funny is at one point when Francesca's grabbing the box, he's reaching for some pills.
Yes.
And then
he's reaching out for the aspirin.
Yeah.
Like this was such an amazing scene because he's actually having a heart attack and she looks at him because there's a giant bottle of aspirin sitting next to a Dybbuk box, which is not really a Dybbuk box.
It wasn't a Dybbuk box because
it was
Jack was just like, okay, I'm going to watch a YouTube video, even though I'm Jewish and I know what a Dybbuk is. I'm going to listen to some white man say a Dybbuk and I'm just going to follow his instructions on how to make a Dybbuk box. And so we're just going to hammer around plywood and that's going to be it.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing that's so funny to me is that so Jack is an antique store owner at the beginning of the movie. He owns this antique store, and then he sees the Dybbuk or whatever, like in like the vision and touching the Dybbuk and touching the chair, and then he
suddenly turns into a rabbi.
Yes,
like halfway through the movie.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going for. Is he just like suddenly is like, I'm a rabbi now? That's not how it works. Like, you don't just become a rabbi because you're watching somebody's paranormal videos on YouTube or TikTok. Like, it's not how you become a rabbi. If it was, I would become a rabbi tomorrow.
Ghost Facers.
Ghost Facers.
So one of the things that I absolutely loved about this movie was the fact that we get a scene where the recliner is actually like shoving Ralph off the balcony. And it is probably the most hilarious part of the film.
Yes.
Because it's like I can envision like some other, like an actual person trying to push this body over the balcony and like having trouble with doing it. And it's just hilarious to me.
But like Ralph was already dead in this moment.
Oh yeah,
right?
Ralph was dead. Yeah.
And this recliner is trying to shove dead weight off. So okay, can I just say, if I was a recliner,
okay, I'm in on this.
You'd go way back.
Yes, I would somehow just shimmy this dude into my lap, and I would shimmy over to the balcony, and then just kick my legs up real fast and just launch him off.
Yeah, of course it happens that way. But the best part is that later on when we see Ralph's dead body down on the ground, he's covered with a tarp.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
he is.
Yes, he
is. It's like he fell off the side into a tarp that blew over him.
He was like, I don't want people to walk by.
He's going to be cold.
He's going to be cold. I don't want innocent people to walk by and see your body just because you harmed me.
But he didn't harm him. He was just he was having sex with a bra and a hat.
Which is weird.
Which was very strange. But can we just talk real fast about how like out of nowhere there was like Ghost Ralph.
Yeah. So,
Out of nowhere.
out of nowhere.
Francesca
for sure.
has not seen a single ghost yet.
No.
But suddenly she sees this ghost of Ralph while she's like walking away from seeing. She's traumatized by seeing the recliner move. And then she's walking away from the apartment and she sees Ralph's ghost like in her bedroom.
Yeah, staring out the window along with the recliner.
Like that's so
And
weird.
basically what it seemed like the movie was doing was saying like, because the recliner was collecting the souls of the people that were dying, and
Yes.
it seemed like their energy was still there with the recliner, and that's kind of how they explain that.
Well, but she only saw Ralph's ghost. She didn't see TJ's ghost. She didn't see like anybody else's ghost. She just saw Ralph's ghost.
Well, we
Like-
did see another ghost later on.
I don't remember.
Because like Maxie is dead, Federico is dead.
Well, Maxie didn't die.
Oh,
Yes.
that's right. She was just in a trash
Yeah, she
can
was unconscious in a trash can.
Yeah.
for like
Uh,
12 hours.
Yeah, essentially. You keep hearing this voice calling out for this woman's name.
Valerie.
Exactly. Valerie. You do get to see Valerie in the bathroom whenever Francesca is like trying to get some pill that she's been taking. I don't know.
Yeah,
Exactly what it
that's
was.
not explained.
It was
It was
like an
never explained.
anti-anxiety or like an anti-depression pill. And
Yeah,
they
I
were
don't know
like,
what it
how
was.
many of these have you been taking? She's like, I've been taking these for years. It's not a big deal. But they keep calling me Valerie.
It's
I
it's
Like
keep
an Amy
hearing
Winehouse
Valerie.
song.
it's like they tried to make it a plot point but never came back to it. And
she was
Well,
like,
they
why don't you
explain it.
come on over, Valerie?
Damn it, Hannah. So they do explain it because I guess the person who is inside the recliner was in love with Valerie. They were a couple,
but,
and
but
he
why
was.
was she taking the pills though?
Oh, yeah, they don't explain why she was taking the pill.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh.
Was why like, they never explained why she was.
I thought
taking
you were
the pills.
saying they didn't explain
Because-
to Valerie.
Because her whole like thing is like, oh, like all of these men love me and will do anything
it's
for
fucking
me,
weird.
and will but they'll also like they'll also be violent with me in sex.
Yeah.
Like it was like, wait a minute.
But like we never came back to that because she was like, it's mostly men, sometimes women. And they were like, are they violent? And she was like, sometimes. And they were like, okay, what is sometimes? She was like, oh, in sex. And they were like, what does that mean? She goes, I don't know. And then we just left it.
Yeah,
And
like,
had her
we
little
never-
finger on her dimple, and I don't
Pretty
know.
much. She was like, I don't know. And we never came back to it. Like,
Yeah. I mean-
who's after you? Why are they violent?
If there's a theme to this movie, it's we don't come back to it.
Inconsistency.
it's we're gonna circle back on that.
Yeah. It's a fucking morning conference call.
Yeah.
We're going to come back to that.
Yeah, we'll circle back on that. And you
It's-
have this question. We're gonna circle back on that. This
It's
is
a gin sake.
well, I was gonna say it's a worse version of Lost.
Ah,
Which is-
Why?
Well, I hands down, Lost is one of like my top 3 favorite shows of all time. But they never come back to things. But this is a movie where instead of just like never coming back to something, they basically tell you they're never gonna come back to something.
yeah.
Like every scene feels like you're never gonna come back to this moment, and it's not gonna pay off because this movie has no fucking payoff.
No, they tell you that they're not going to come back to it because they end the scene.
Yeah,
That's how you know. As
Wait.
soon as the scene ends, they're done.
It's done. Yeah.
Well,
they
it's-
never go back.
you look at the end of the movie, and it's like she like bends down and looks into like the buttonhole, like the button on the eye, or that is the eye of the
Mhm.
recliner, and then you just see like Francesca. She's like being she's like
Yeah,
being
her
sucked
soul
into
is
it. Yeah,
like
her-
being sucked into the abyss.
yeah, and it's like floating around and stuff, and it's like wait, I don't understand how we got to this point.
Okay, another thing that I don't understand real fast, not to cut you off, but sometimes the eyes were just like black buttons, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes
And
they were like reflective.
They
right?
were blue. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think
what?
I think that was from the lighting on set.
But no, because there was a time where he was in, I say he, like the recliner.
It was
is a
Gerard.
gender.
Gerard was the name of the
Okay,
recliner.
so the recliner was in the apartment, totally black button eyes. They moved, immediately came back, and he had like glassy blue eyes. Had not moved. It wasn't the lighting. It wasn't that the recliner had moved. It was like his emotion had changed. And now he has these glassy blue eyes because now
must
he's
have
in
missed that.
love.
Yeah.
No, I caught it because he didn't move. And it went from like black buttons to glassy blue.
To like hard
Yeah.
eyes.
Yes.
Hannah did call it out while we were watching it. I
He
will
had
say
hungry eyes.
I will say this is probably the most uncomfortable episode of La La Loopsy I've ever seen.
So you're talking about the eyes of the recliner.
Yeah.
What about that fucking mouth, though? What that
Oh.
mouth do? Because
it blows out candles. That's what it. Or it blows out matches. That's what it
blow
did.
out
No,
matches.
he did.
He blew out matches. It was like 5 of them. That was one of the funniest
Just-
fucking scenes because she's like lighting a match. So she douses it in gasoline, but also doesn't know how to hold the gas can. So she's holding it like 2 hands on the nozzle and is spilling gasoline all over herself while on the chair too, which is just absolutely insane that somebody would think that you pour gasoline on anything that way. But then she starts lighting these matches one at a time, and then the chair just keeps blowing them out.
The chair just goes,
It's so good. The fucking Foley work on that was intense. That's probably the best it's been in the entire movie.
okay, but also, while we're on the subject of the mouth, if you look at any movie poster for this film,
That's okay.
it's a film.
It was
It
made.
has like sharp teeth. And so the whole time I was expecting this recliner,
To, like,
not a
fucking
sofa,
eat somebody, right?
to like eat
Yeah.
somebody.
I was waiting for
to
it the
just
whole
like,
movie.
like where Francesca sat in it was like, oh, I'm gonna get like real nasty with his chair. I was expecting him to just like gobble her up with sharp teeth, right?
or to like, or
you had to say gobble her up.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like Megan the Stallion.
No, but I mean, like they're like
It's
doing,
Thanksgiving.
they're doing like dirty stuff. Like I was expecting there to be
Well-
some sort of like weird fleshy pink tongue that came out of the chair or something.
That went a little far. Like the chair wasn't doing dirty stuff. Francesca was doing dirty stuff because
but she
her gay
wasn't
boyfriend
touching
was
herself
gone.
at all. She was just
She was
touching
just
the
all
chair.
Just
over the
rubbing
chair.
Yeah.
But in every movie poster you see, not every, but like half the movie posters you see, this chair has very sharp teeth with an open mouth. And I was fully expecting going into this that we were going to have like a full blown like ASMR, let me just like munch on you recliner. Just like no, it was like ASMR. It did nothing. There was no mouth. It was just beady eyes
It was like weird lips.
and just like a weird like footrest that popped out like a dick, and that was all you got.
But so when we find out that the chair is Frederico, like how would he would have had to like move the mouth with his hands or something? You know what I mean?
But
Like,
also,
because he's inside the recliner. But
But
the
wait.
recliner had like the mouth. But then okay, this was something funny too, is that when they start showing like inside of the recliner, when you start to realize it, and then it's like there's this big like hole cut in the fabric. That's definitely not where the eyes are, because the eyes are like sewn on, and when the chair like falls, like his like disguise falls off of him, like his head is like at the top. It's like not down. plot holes. This movie sucked. but I don't understand. Here's the thing that I didn't understand, and I still don't understand. When the chair falls off of Federico and he's standing there, like, what happened to his face? It's like his face was skinned, and that has never been brought up before, and they didn't talk about it after.
Oh, this is easy. It's whenever Francesca was all rubbing herself up on the chair.
Okay, but
I need me a Francesca.
You should. No, the other thing that I have a problem with is, like, at the end of the movie, it's like, no, Federico was absolutely this chair.
Yeah.
Right? But in the beginning of the movie, they show the video where Federico is, like, cutting his hand or doing whatever ritual he's doing. The chair is already staring at him.
Yeah.
In that moment. Like, the chair already has some sort of presence, some sort of soul. And then at the end of the movie, they're just like, oh, it's Federico. Like, he stared at a recliner too hard when he was like jacking off and dying. But that recliner already had those button eyes and was already looking at him with that, like, gaping cushion mouth that he has.
Yeah.
And was like, bleh.
When also at the end, they were like, yeah, like, he's been dead for weeks.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't kill him when you shot him, Detective
He's
Gravy.
been dead.
Oh, no, Gravy wasn't dead yet. They're like, yeah, he was already dead for weeks. And then,
nope,
like,
it was Grape.
yeah, and then they kill Gravy. It's
But
the saddest
Grape
day for
lived.
Canada of all time.
I think that how they were trying to portray this is that it was Gerard and
Valerie.
Federico.
Yeah, so Federico was possessed by Gerard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Francesca was possessed by Valerie.
Right.
And they were meant to be together. Like those two beings are meant to be together, like Gerard and Valerie.
Yeah.
But like Federico and Francesca, I guess are not.
Hey,
But
you know what? Lesson learned.
So what about the time when Jack went like full on Outlander?
No, he did.
He did like twice. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like, it kind of tries to give you some kind of exposition as to what's going on with Valerie and Gerard, but it doesn't really give you a whole lot of what's going on there.
no.
But they don't give you a whole lot of anything of what's going on throughout the movie.
Like, it would have been cool if they had just picked one of those storylines and rode with it the whole way.
Yeah.
Because none of the storylines were bad, but none of them were developed at all.
No, not really.
I mean, this movie as a whole was not developed.
No, it really wasn't.
That's why it's on our show.
Any other ridiculous moments that we haven't mentioned yet? Because, I mean, this whole movie is ridiculous in itself, but...
No, okay. One more was when Francesca was dancing just out of nowhere, like right after the
It was at
intro.
the beginning, yeah.
Yeah, it was the beginning, and she's just dancing. And
To
then
this
she goes,
shitty rock band.
okay, but then Maxie walks up and she's like, hey, I'm her manager, Maxie. And then at the end of it, she goes, oh, this is Maxie. Like a minute after introducing her to Gravy and Grape,
Yeah.
Yeah.
when we learn their names. And then it's like 15 minutes later, she goes, Maxie, you should really pursue your music career. You're amazing. And we're like,
You're
Yeah, you're so
As a-
talented.
This
like
was
as a
never
manager?
brought up before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like nobody ever says anything about Maxie's talent. She works in an antique shop with her grandpa that pronounces Dybbuk as Dybbuk. And she's like, oh, I'm a talented musician. We don't know.
Who knows?
Like, it's just thrown in there for adding a
Like,
little
we're-
bit of time
Yeah.
to the movie. And,
Yes.
like, it's never mentioned. Not
No.
before, not after.
No, but we're just supposed to know,
And accept.
yes, that she's an incredible musician and she's hiding her talent, but we have no clue.
Like two drunk girls in a bar bathroom. No, you're beautiful. You deserve better.
But the only musical talent we get in this entire movie is the one guy from New Zealand that wants to be Tom Waits.
He definitely wants to be Tom Waits.
And that's at the very beginning of the movie.
Yes.
Okay, I have one more ridiculous thing. It is when the like recliner is like completely upright and just like walking
Oh God, yes.
around the apartment, and it's just kind of like waddling. And then, but then that one guy who like cut off Frederico's legs is like, yeah, he wanted me to cut his legs off, and I have a feeling that he wanted to fit inside of a recliner. Like he just like pulled those dimensions out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, okay, first of all, this is a New Zealand film, and we have friends in Australia, and they make fun of us for using the empirical system, but I mean, we could look at a human being and go, yeah, that person is a recliner length.
Yeah.
Like I'm too long for a recliner. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm too long for a recliner. My legs hang off.
I mean, could we really say that Frederico was measuring by the foot?
I mean, he had
Cut off
his
his
feet cut
fucking
off.
feet.
He cut off his feet. Yeah.
But not only, like, when they went into it, he cut him off, like, above the feet.
Yeah, at like the ankle.
Which was really weird.
No, it
like,
was like
that's
mid-shin.
It really was.
The photo showed
So
like at the ankle.
the original photo showed the feet. When they went back towards the end of the movie and they showed like the replay, like we're on some sports network that doesn't sponsor us, they cut them off at like the shin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what about the moment when the recliner is peeking around the door frame?
There you see recliner peeking around the door frame.
Yeah, let's go ahead and just get into the ratings because, I mean, I think we've talked enough about this movie. Everybody can get the idea of how this rating is going to go. Hannah, why don't you go first?
Oh, you know what? I give it a skull.
Okay, interesting.
Okay.
Sell me on the skull.
I would never again in my life watch this seriously, but
I mean, we didn't watch it seriously the first time.
no, we didn't. But I laughed through the whole thing. It's a good movie to laugh at. So I would absolutely watch it again because of those reasons. I give it a skull.
All right, Nathan.
Oh, I'm giving it a skull.
Interesting.
Which,
okay.
No, because as much as I shit on this movie, I would watch it with other people. I would share it with other people in the same way that I shared Jar Squatter with my friends.
Oh.
Jeez.
It's like, hey, have you seen this awful thing? Let me traumatize you too, because I traumatized myself the first time.
That's enough. Jared, what about you?
Oh, God. Guys, I cannot believe you both gave this movie a skull.
Because you're going to give it
I'm
one?
giving it a fucking
Yes!
skull, too.
Yes!
It's just 3 skulls. Surprisingly.
This is the first 3 skull movie since Terrifier.
3 skulls got all the reasons.
Like, this movie is... Oh, it's not a good movie,
No.
but it's fun.
It is definitely fun.
It's... You know, I think that it's one of those movies that you can get people together and just have a good time. I mean, we like horror movies. That's why we're doing this thing.
Yes.
But, I mean, it doesn't always have to be so serious.
No. And you can definitely have a good time if you have a lot of rosé like we did.
Right. And one of the best parts about and I brought up Jar Squatter, but that's kind of the thing is that it is watching someone else react to something and expecting them to react the way you did or maybe in a different way. and that's super fun and funny.
But
it's almost like Deep Dark, because that's a movie that I would
Yeah.
put like very similar to this. Like, not a good movie,
For
No,
sure.
Not at all.
but fun to watch and fun to share with your friends.
But it's also going through pain and going, I'm not going to do this by myself, and putting your friends through pain to
Yeah.
watch them join you on that journey.
It's when you're in the store with someone and you pick up a candle and you smell it and you go, "Oh, this smells terrible. Here, smell
Yeah, here,
this."
smell this.
And
It's
they
like,
smell
Ava,
it.
this smells like armpit. Ick. And you
Yeah.
shove it in somebody's nose.
Yeah, it's because you need to share this with someone. It's like The Ring. It's like the video from The Ring. You have to share it with someone so that they are damned also.
Yeah.
It's like me with every single friend I have, which is why I have 3 friends.
2 of them are here.
Yes.
All right, thanks for listening. You can follow us on social media at Spoop Squad on Twitter and The Squad Podcast on Facebook. You can go there to recommend movies for future episodes or just talk about the movies we've already watched. Leave us a 5-star review and we'll read it on an upcoming episode. It kind of helps us with the algorithms of Apple Podcast, and that way others can find the show and it'll help us grow.
That's right. Subscribe, smash that like button. Keep it spoopy.
And don't spoop your pants. What are you doing?
I'm popping and locking.